Here I am working in one of the back bedrooms today. All this stuff on the bed is stuff that I have listed on eBay or I'm getting ready to list. And I started out with like 25 things on eBay as I was decluttering. Then I moved it up to like 35, then 50. I got clear up to 101 things on eBay listed. And since I'm the only one in the family that knows how to do it, my mother in law and I talked about it, and I'm going to be listing some of my father in law's clothes on there. And then we are going to save that money for another family member that has cancer right now. So I'm working on that today. It is super, super hot outside, muggy. The mosquitoes will carry you away. So it's definitely an indoor day. But I thought we would talk about decluttering. And I have several questions that can be asked to determine whether or not you need to declutter. If this is your first time joining me, or if you have been watching me for a while, I just want to give you a little background about where I am at with this. I'm the daughter of Depression era parents that were born in 1929 and 1931. That means my parents, both my mother and my father, saved absolutely everything. Every milk jug, every newspaper, every bread twisty, bread bag, every coat hanger, everything that there could possibly be to use, reuse, repurpose, we saved it. If it was still good in any way, even if it was broken and there were parts that we might be able to use, we saved them. So that's how I was raised. So as I raised my children, again, I saved everything. I repurposed clothing. One wore clothing, the next one wore the clothing, and they went through several kids. And unless they got holes in the knee and I didn't get them patched or they were completely unpatchable, they wore them all. And if it was looking bad, they were their Saturday clothes. So we kept everything, we used everything, we didn't throw things away. And then when they grew up, a lot of things got left at my house. And when they moved, sometimes the things they didn't want to take with them then got stored at my house. Then I ended up with a brother in the nursing home. My parents passed away. I ended up with a lot of their stuff. And so over the years, I have just accumulated all kinds of stuff. I was probably in my 50s when my youngest daughter introduced me to the idea of decluttering. She had started doing it and she tried to introduce me to that. She gave me the Marie Kondo book and I read it and I started seeing things differently. I started seeing that this stuff was owning me. I wasn't owning it. It was taking up space in my brain, in my house. It was taking up space that I could use for other things. And a lot of it wasn't usable anymore, or it didn't even serve a purpose anymore because my kids had grown up. So I really started looking at trying to downsize and get rid of some of this stuff while I still had the ability to do it. And I've been working at this for a number of years. I've definitely had to slow down because of my physical condition. So I started donating so many things or giving them away to people that could use them or giving them away to my kids that could use them. And then the things that I felt like I'd spent a lot of money on or were still in pristine condition, I started trying to sell some of those things. And I tried to limit myself on how much I was selling because I didn't want it to get out of hand on me storing a bunch of stuff that was for sale. But here I am. I'm up to 101 items. I think I'm down to 99 now. I sold two more things in the last couple of days. And I'm trying to get more things moved out of my house. And I have to tell you, once I started doing this, the feeling that I got was so freeing in letting some of this stuff go. And I started realizing that that feeling felt so good that I really wanted a clean, neat, duty free type of house where I didn't have a lot to do. I didn't have a lot of stuff to move, to dust, to store, and that would be the easiest choice for me going forward into retirement. And that's what I really started striving for in my early 50s. So I ran across a list of things that tell you whether or not you need to maybe consider decluttering some things. And I thought it was so interesting. And I thought back over my time of me going through this process of changing my mindset about holding on to so much stuff, that I thought it might help someone out there today. So I thought we would visit about it. So let's get started on that. I had to move into a room where I could sit down. The first one is you can't find it and you know you have one or two or three or four. That's one of the things I started doing when I first started decluttering, was putting like all my scissors together, all my scotch tape together, all those things that were scattered around. And it actually saved me a lot of money because I had a lot more than I realized, and I just didn't know where they were. The second one is your closet no longer fits you or your life. And this is something I really took a hard look at after I quit my job. I had a lot of dress clothes that I was not going to wear. I knew I might need some then and again for certain things, but I wasn't going to wear the things that I always chose last to wear if everything else was dirty or didn't fit the season. So I got rid of a lot of dress clothes and just kept my favorites. The third one is you avoid certain rooms in your home because they are full of only who knows what. And this had happened to our back bedroom. After all the kids grew up and moved away, we started keeping a lot of things stored back there to the point that it became too full. And then I was like, oh my gosh, why are we keeping all of this stuff? And I started really taking a hard look at what we were actually storing back there. The fourth one is you save things just in case, and that is normal. And I touched on that at the beginning of this video, that I was raised to save things just in case. And I do still save things just in case and use some of them, but I don't save them to the magnitude that my parents did. A lot of those things like bread bags, bread twisties, milk jugs, they come in handy, but I'm not going to save every one that comes through my kitchen. I'm just going to keep a reasonable amount of things that are just in case. The fifth one is you wear the same clothes over and over again. Most people wear about 20% of their wardrobe, and I know I'm guilty of that. I have my favorites just like I did in my dress clothes, and I wear the same ones over and over because they're the most comfortable and they're the ones that I want to choose every time they are clean. And that gives us the opportunity then to downsize some of those things that are just taking up extra space that we're never going to choose first because we're always wearing the same clothes. Plus, it gives us the opportunity to make sure that the stuff in our closet really fits. So many times I would leave things hanging in my closet because I had in my mind it didn't fit. And then if I took a day and I tried them on, guess what? It did fit. I just thought it didn't fit. So I never was using it. So wearing the same clothes over and over gives us the hint that we probably need to go through our wardrobe. The sixth sign that you probably need to think about decluttering is your house feels overwhelming. You're looking at piles of dishes, piles of laundry, things stacked everywhere, and it just feels like you don't know where to start or you never can keep caught up. I remember feeling like that when my kids were at home, that I never had a free moment to just sit down and watch TV because I was constantly seeing everything that needed done, and I felt like I was never going to get it accomplished, and I was always feeling overwhelmed. The seventh sign that you may need to declutter is you buy a lot of duplicates. You don't know what you have, you don't know how many you have, and you just keep buying and keep buying, and then they're scattered all over the place and you're spending extra money. And that's one thing that is something that I dealt with. I bought a lot of duplicates, and I bought duplicates of things that I didn't even remember that I had. So, great little tip there. If you are buying duplicates or you buy something and then you find a duplicate, it's probably your sign that you need to start decluttering. The eighth sign that you may need to declutter is on your days off or on the weekend, you want to go somewhere else to find something to do because your house is not relaxing and it's not some place that you want to be when you are off work. We spend a lot of money on our house, in our house, and then a lot of times we don't spend any time at our house because we're working all the time. And I remember being guilty of this back when my kids were younger. I remember thinking on the weekends, let's go walk through the mall. Well, that was an hour each way, and yet I would still do that versus staying home because I knew if I was home, I had stuff I had to be doing and stuff I had to be cleaning up. I had stuff that was going to keep me busy, and I wasn't really going to get a day off because my house was not relaxing. So if you're always looking for somewhere to go when you're off work rather than going home, that may be a sign that you need to start decluttering. The ninth sign that you may need to start letting some things go is you feel attached to everything. And I was there, I promise you. I held on to things that later, as I went through this decluttering process, I realized was just silly. They didn't mean anything, and yet I couldn't let them go. An example of this is my dad had passed away like 12 years before, and I was still holding on to like his Blue Cross Blue Shield card, his Medicare card. Why was I doing that? It was because everything was so hard to part with. I thought everything had meaning when a lot of things did not have meaning. And once I got that through my head and started letting that stuff go, it just felt so much lighter. And it helped me make better decisions about what things I had actually did have meaning. The 10th sign that letting things go is where you need to be is when you do it, you feel relief. And I've touched on this all through this video, how I felt lighter, how I felt less stress, how I didn't realize the clutter was filling my brain and keeping me uptight because of all of the silent things that I knew I still needed to get done. I wasn't able to relax in my own home because I had so much always to do. And that is a great sign when you start letting things go. And it's a relief just to get them in a bag or a box and get them into your car and then drop them off and donate them or sell something like I talked about in the beginning and package that up and get that mailed. When you start feeling how good that feels, it motivates you to keep going. And that's probably what has motivated me to keep going. I'm probably on year 5 of still going through things. Every time I think that I've gone through most everything, then something will come to my mind, or I'll open some drawer and I'll be like, why am I keeping this? So sometimes you have to make several swipes through the same items to get to that point that you're like, I don't need this anymore. Why did I hold on to this when I went through it the first time or two? And it really does feel good and feel like a relief to let that go. Let me know how many of these you've experienced. I know some of you that watch this are done decluttering your homes. You've shared that with me. Some of you are just starting retirement and just starting some of these processes. And then there's ones of you like me that have been doing this for a while and continue to find things that you can let go of and it feels really good. I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for being here today, and I hope you'll join me for the next video.